This is Business Glide, your go-to point on matters, public policy analysis, business and economics at large. I'm Richard Mwanja, your resident economist here on the channel. Welcome to the conversation today as we unpack conversations shaping Kenya's economic landscape. But let me introduce the gentleman who's going to help me bring such conversations home, and he is none other than the first of his name, Professor Manyora. How are you doing?
Wonderfully wonderful.
You are well?
Oh, very well.
A teacher you are, and teachers are in the streets, particularly university lecturers.
Yes.
Sort of a labor crisis in this country.
Yes.
Let's begin with the latest development from CS Ogamba, CS for Education. And now we are looking at a plan whereby the state is mulling exporting unemployed teachers abroad, just so to address unemployment issues and also to give young Kenyans another lease of life outside there where they consider to be greener pastures.
To take other Kenyans into slavery.
Well, these are trained teachers. They're being taken for better jobs abroad. That is the conversation from the government.
Which jobs?
And now the numbers are yet to be filed out there that they're looking at. But let me look at you. I mean, let me ask you this, Prof. Do you think this is sort of a good target from the side of government exporting unemployed teachers in Kenya?
Well, I mean, if there are jobs, there's nothing wrong with them. But are they really jobs?
Mm-hmm. For the first time, the government says going to do bilateral agreement with other nations.
You know, you must be creative. We live in a world where if you copy-paste anything, if you lazily approach an issue, you not get anywhere. You must be creative and imaginative. Look at the Kenyan labor market. Look at the skill level in this country. Do an audit of the skills we have in this country, of the training we have, the people, men and women, young boys and girls. Then ask yourself, for this particular set of skills, where can we export them? Where are they most needed? And how can we package them? I'll give you an example.
Sure. If
you say you want people who can do electrical installation, fundi ya stima tu, those who have had basic training, let's say those who go to our vocational centers, what are they called?
TVETs.
TVETs. They have learned how to do electrical installation, maybe certificate or diploma level. You can have an agreement with a country, say, let's look at a country like Zambia or Malawi or whatever, and tell them, we have assessed your skills level in the area of electrical installations. And we know this is your demand. Currently, you may need 1,000 electricians. But looking at the projections, economic survey and projections, in another 20 years, you'll need 50,000 because people are developing and so forth. So we want to enter into a program with you where we bring electricians with certificates or diplomas to do the work here, but we also will bring another set to start a 10-year project of training craftsmen. These people even here, we train them for 3 months. Kama Tibet and Kibit, you know, and others. 3 months, mtu anaweka stima kwa nyumba, anaweka maji. We do that for them for the next 15, 20 years. That is thinking. You get it? You are even creating the market yourself through your own survey. And then you sit down in the government of Zambia and they allow in 1,000 electricians. And these others now, you take them through pedagogy, through teaching. How do you teach somebody? Okay, you know electrical installation.
Sure.
But supposing you have to teach this to somebody else. Unamwambia tufuta hiyo waya hapana. Kuna basic ya theory unampatia.
Yeah, true.
Kuna risks and the way you are taught. So how pia wanafundishwa. So now you take them to Namibia, Zambia, Seychelles. That is creative. But just, let's take teachers.
Unemployed teachers.
Like, let's take people, we are taking people to Germany. Let's take people to Qatar. Qatar, you call it Qatar, Qatar.
Qatar.
I think it's Qatar.
Yeah.
You people, you say, let's go Qatar because that's what you want. You must ask yourself, when they say UQ, you go and work in Qatar, or let's say Qatar. Are there no people there who want jobs? Are there no Arabs from neighboring countries who don't have jobs? How many jobless people are there in Yemen? Why are they not hiring them? Why are they coming to hire here? These are the questions you must ask yourself. Because they are looking for slaves.
Modern day slaves?
Yes. What they can do to a Kenyan migrant worker in Gata, they will not do to another Arab, a fellow Muslim. Then I can come and ask me, because it's true, I'm ready to face anybody. The minister, whatever, ambassador, let them come. It's true. If a country doesn't have, if you had Kenya was importing people, won't you ask yourself, there must be something wrong? Because we have many people here who are looking for jobs. How can we now bring people to come and look for jobs here, to come and do jobs here? There is almost no country in the world that doesn't have a shortage of, that doesn't have unemployment. It's just the levels, the rates. Of course, there are other places where without migrant workers, they can't work. But even there, why do you think they need foreigners? That's how you must understand the mistreatment Kenyans get in the Arab world, in the Middle East. Because they are looking for people to whom they can do things they can't do for a person they consider a human being. So they bring these fellows from Africa and mistreat them.
On the flip side of it, Kenya is getting diaspora remittances.
That is nonsense. We don't want leftovers. We want to create money. The money we get from the diaspora, we can get from a very small venture in this country. That's not money.
But this is for part of the justification
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
just
government.
going to, I don't know, to 600 billion. That's not money.
Annual remittance.
What money is that? How many places in this country have minerals we have not even looked at?
Part of the justification from the government as
How
to
much
why.
why are we not doing digital mining of our wildlife? Digital mining. And selling to the world digitally. And making billions of dollars, not shillings.
That could fix the revenue deficit?
If I become president of this country, in 5 years you can't know it. Look at our marine life. Have we even scratched kidogo tu kwa makucha the potential of even our side of Lake Victoria? Look at Lake Naivasha. We pump filth and poison into the lake. Instead of removing all those flower farms from around the lake and do lake tourism. Lake Naivasha alone, and Lake Naivasha is a conference city. Yet we are pumping shit and chemicals into Lake Victoria. Remove all those flower farms, all of them. Make Lake Victoria, Lake Naivasha fresh, clean for tourism, water skiing, boat riding, boat competition, and fishing. With all the hotels that are growing around Naivasha. For every $1 you get from the diaspora, Lake Naivasha will give you 50. For every $1 you get from those flower farms, Lake Naivasha will give you $200. Please, we must be creative and imaginative.
So it ain't just about saying we need to address the ballooning wage bill. Perhaps we need to export teachers, because even the...
We need more, we need more civil servants. We need to employ. Government is the biggest employer. We are crying because we are spending 600 billion shillings on salaries. We need to be spending 5 trillion on salaries. This economy can generate about 30 trillion shillings.
Without reliance on sovereign debt?
Which debts? Our debts we can pay only in 1 year, all of them. We don't have debts. Do we have debts in this country?
So then again, Prof, I'm curious.
Do we have debts in this country? 10, 11 trillion, if you turn that in dollars. So it's laughable figures. Those are laughable figures. Yeah, we don't have a debt. We can pay our debt in just a year or so. Yeah.
Looking at the last 2 years of President Ruto's tenure, oftentimes he's talking about the need for them to hire junior secondary school teachers among other cohorts. And even now, the Teacher Service Commission has already advertised such positions. Are you not convinced that it is picking the numbers as it should? Because we're looking at advertisement going up towards 20,000 in terms of slots being availed out there to protect these teachers.
You see, it's not some dose you are giving. You see that one, Apiana. Assess the need. How many teachers do you need? Hire them. All of them, the ones you need. But in the process of assessing how many teachers you need, you must know you are in the 21st century.
What does that mean then?
It would mean perhaps you don't need as many teachers as you think. And stop training unnecessarily so. Stop giving people false hope. Stop training junior teachers. Let everybody do a degree. Abolish Bachelor of Education. Abolish these primary teacher training colleges or whatever they are called. Abolish all of them. In the meantime, you can use what we have. Because they are already too many to be absorbed. You can use what we have for the next even 10 years. And you bring fresh thinking. So you say there will be no teacher training college. Nobody will do Bachelor of Education. What do? You get your degree. And then get your degree, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science. Then do you really want to become a teacher? Yes. We put you on an internship program for 1 year. You see the really environment where you are admiring. This is what you admire to be. Do you still think you can be a teacher? Like we hear doctors, the first few weeks of training unapelekwa mortuary. I don't know whether it is true. Ukiangalia nafikia wengine wanatoroka.
You come back to teaching.
So you come for internship. Now, after that 1 year now, you go for a postgraduate diploma in teaching or a master's degree in teaching. You see? Then you come back for another internship. Then you become a teacher.
That kind of streamlining.
Then you will really have teachers in this country. But in this day and age, nobody can teach anybody without, at the very least, 1 degree.
Let's talk a bit about the minimum wages in this country. We are seeing teachers decrying the government is not honoring collective bargaining agreements, more particularly the lecturers in this country. Is it that the government doesn't have the will to address, dignity in labor or what?
Governments all over the world are conservative. And the governments are always resisting good things, like good salaries for people. All over the world, governments are conservative. That's why there are pressure groups like trade unions to push governments. So it's a normal thing. But ours is a little extreme. Somebody once asked me, we were on strike for a whole year. And somebody asked me, Manyora, how many are you in this country? How many lecturers are there? At that time, we were about 1,500, less than 1,500. Then he calculated, so even if each of you are given 100,000, those days, we were earning about 20,000. What will the government lose? And for lecturers, the story is more complex.
How so?
Than for other teachers. I told my colleagues when finally Kibaki came and we were allowed to have a union in WASU, I told my colleagues at the university, I was part of the movement of the change, the WASU, union. I even became an official. I told them, don't join ordinary trade unions. Don't look for salaries. Let the salaries you get be automatic through harmonization. Because there's no way government is going to pay people like us in the civil service 100,000 and they continue paying us 30,000. We shall get to 100. Don't fight for that 100. What you do, fight for other benefits like houses, academies for your children, and so on and so forth. Good study leave and what have you, research funding. The reason why I was telling them that, and that's that it is at the core of the problem with universities, is a professor has a name anywhere in the world. So when a man is introduced as a professor in some social gathering, you sort of scare other men around you. That's a fact. Anybody can say no. Hata mtu akisema huyu ni daktari, works Kenyatta Hospital. Yeah, people, watu nastuka. Anaweza kunyang'anya your girlfriend because he's a doctor. Sini kweli. These are some of the so for a professor in society, the name is already scaring, intimidating other men. So when you are in a hotel, Serena, introduction of Professor so and so, so and so, so and so hapo. Lakini sasa men will recover when the bill comes. Those other men now will recover because the professor can't pay. They are the ones paying. So do you think on top of the name you have, these men, big men, will give you salary? They will not give you salary. Because a professor with a name plus money now he'll be everything now in society.
Perfect combo.
Nobody will want that kind of person. So if you are waiting that one day this government will ever pay a professor, you are stupid. I told them. I argued with my friend, the late Namai. He didn't listen, and many others didn't listen. This many years later, about 20-something years later, we are still going on TV to visit shame upon professors. On last Wednesday, you saw my colleagues on Citizen TV.
True, yeah.
What percentages were they talking about? 7%. Professors arguing about 7%, which will yield about 9,000 shillings, 10,000. Nobody, 7% at the university is not going to give anybody 30,000. Nobody at the university will get 30,000 from that 7%. Not let me see the highest paid. Let's give him, let's say, let me calculate, or quickly, or just off my head.
Sure.
And then it is taxed. 6, 5, 13. Nobody will get 30,000.
Nobody.
Nobody. The highest paid university professor. These salaries we are fighting for will just yield 10 for the majority people. Watu wadogo kama kina Manyora 18, 12 hapa. So how can we go on a national TV to be telling the world we are on strike and we are fighting for 10,000 shillings?
So chances are high.
You see the deficiency in thinking I'm talking about? It is that deficiency in thinking that is being exploited by those in power to treat professors like children. Because they also don't have the thinking of a professor.
So it's highly unlikely for a Kenyan university don
to ever be paid well.
Or even be a billionaire.
No, how can you? Unless very few of them who are in very rich research areas, consultants areas. But your salary cannot give you. We earn less than MCS.
Can't take you to Karen?
Which Karen? The professors who went to Karen were taken by Moi.
Well, there you have it. That point by Professor Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of today's conversation discussing matters to do with the education sector in this country, challenges therein, and efforts from the government this far to address some of the concerns that have been raised by professionals in the education sector. Time now for Fan of the Week. It is none other than this amazing advocate of the High Court of Kenya, that is Charles Mwangi.
Charles Mwangi, good. I hope he's a good advocate.
A very good one.
These lawyers have disappointed me.
Really?
Lawyers in this country. And even judges. Let me tell you, if I was Justice Mwongo or Justice Mwita, I would quit.
You would?
I'll quit. When my colleagues, after those serious observations are made, rubbish and discharge the conservative orders, I would quit. And tell you this, society has changed because certain individuals, even one person, stands up for good. That lady who refused to give up her seat on a bus in America changed the course of history in America in matters of race relations. So those two judges, you'll sacrifice, the bodyguard will go, whatever will go, but you'll pick up the pieces, you'll be a good senior lawyer in this country. If I were Mwongo, I'll just quit.
So for Advocate Charles Mwangi?
I'll just quit. So Advocate Charles Mwangi, grow to be a principled lawyer, an intelligent lawyer. Read. One of the greatest shortcomings of lawyers and judges in this country, they don't read. You must be an informed person. So, because when they argue in court, I can tell they have not read. They are doing the same cases. Oh, India, 18th what? The same.
Case studies.
And I've asked them, would somebody sitting in India cite a case from Kenya? Charles Mwangi, judge in this. Our lawyers must read. Our judges must read. Our judicial officers must read. Judges must also be principled. Some of these judges ought to resign, and that will not count for nothing when the history of this country is written. They will say it was because of justice so and so that the administration of justice in Kenya took a new turn for the better.
History will have a place for them.
Yes.
Well, there you have it. Up next on your screen is the Business Glide African proverb of the day.